Have you ever noticed that quiet, constant hum in the back of your mind? That little voice that's always measuring, always checking where you stand compared to others. Well, that feeling isn't some personal flaw you need to fix. It's actually a core feature of your brain's operating system. It runs in the background, 24/7, scanning, sorting, and ranking. In this explainer, we're going to pull back the curtain on this hidden system. We'll get into exactly why your brain is hardwired to do this, and how this ancient survival program is creating so much of our modern anxiety.
Okay, let's just dive right into the central paradox of this whole thing. This quote, it just nails the strange bargain our brain makes every single day, often without us even realizing it. It trades lasting, internal peace for a quick, cheap hit of certainty. The certainty of just knowing where we stand. And it feels irresistible, right? Because in a world filled with ambiguity, comparison offers a super simple answer to that huge complex question. Am I doing okay? But why? Why on earth would our own mind choose a path that so often leads to feeling worse? We're going to break this whole process down so you can see it, interrupt it, and finally take back control of your own sense of worth.
So what does this constant hunt for certainty actually cost us? Well, while the brain is off chasing a quick answer, our emotional well-being is paying a very high and very real price. And this isn't some abstract philosophical idea, it's a daily lived experience for millions of us. It plays out in our careers, our relationships, and even in our quietest moments alone. We've basically fallen into a trap where the search for a simple metric, better than or worse than, has become more important than our own inner peace.
Now, what's wild about this list is just how familiar these feelings are to so many of us. This is the direct result of living inside that comparison loop. That diminished self-esteem, it's not a single event, it's death by 1,000 cuts, where every upward comparison just chips away at your sense of competence. The chronic anxiety is that low-grade background noise of never feeling like you're enough, of always being one step behind some imaginary curve. And those cycles of shame are brutal. First, you feel bad for not measuring up, and then you feel ashamed for even feeling bad in the first place. This emotional seesaw, which gets amplified 1,000 times by social media, creates this deep instability, just bouncing us between a fleeting moment of feeling superior and then crushing inadequacy, never letting us find any stable ground.
And here's what's so important to understand. This isn't happening because you're insecure. It's happening because your brain is incredibly efficient. Social comparison is what's called a cognitive heuristic. It's a mental shortcut. Just think of your brain as having a limited energy budget for the day. So when you ask a really complex question like, am I a good parent? Or am I successful in my career? Finding a real objective answer would take a ton of energy. So what's the shortcut? Just look at the person next to you. It's faster, it's easier, and it gives you an immediate, though often totally inaccurate answer. Your brain, by design, will almost always choose the low-energy path of comparison over the high-energy path of deep self-reflection.
But this shortcut isn't some modern bug that came with the internet. To really get why this drive is so powerful, we need to look way, way back. We're about to see that you're not just fighting a bad habit you picked up from Instagram. No, you are contending with a deeply embedded survival program, one that has been fine-tuned over hundreds of thousands of years of human evolution.
So let's give this program a name, the Social Positioning System. Think of it like a piece of legacy software that came pre-installed in your brain. And for its time, it was brilliant. It was designed to help our ancestors navigate a world of scarce resources and constant physical threats. Its prime directive was brutally simple. Figure out where you stand in the tribe, because your rank, your position in the hierarchy, directly determined your access to food, to mates, and to safety. In that world, knowing your social position wasn't about ego, it was literally about survival.
And this right here perfectly illustrates the huge mismatch between our ancient programming and our modern world. Back then, your social positioning system was comparing you to maybe 50 or 100 people in your immediate tribe. It was local, it was limited, and the goal was tangible: stay alive. But today, that same system is trying to position you against the 8 billion people on the planet, all of them accessible through that little screen in your pocket. The goal has shifted from survival to this much more abstract, infinite hunt for self-worth and social validation. And the threat? It's no longer a lion. It's the social pain of feeling less than, a pain your brain processes in the exact same regions it processes physical pain.
So we know why this ancient program exists. Now let's look at how it actually operates in your brain second by second. We are going to map the automatic 4-stage loop that runs every single time you feel that urge to compare. And understanding these mechanics is the absolute key to changing it, because it's like finally getting the user manual for a machine that's been running on autopilot your entire life. Okay, let's walk through this loop with a real-world example. It all starts with an uncertainty trigger. That vague internal question like, how am I doing financially? Instantly, your brain executes its default program, the comparison strategy, and it latches onto the easiest reference point it can find, say, a friend's Instagram post about their amazing new house. Then comes the emotional calculation. Does seeing this give you a painful pang of inferiority, or maybe a little rush of superiority? And here's the kicker, the reinforcement. That feeling, whether it's the sting of envy or a satisfying hit of relief, gets locked in by a flood of neurochemicals, making it even more likely you'll run this exact same loop the next time uncertainty pops up.
Now, during that critical emotional calculation stage, the brain basically makes one of two moves. There's upward comparison, looking at someone you see as better off. Now, this can sometimes spark motivation, but it almost always comes with a dose of social pain and an immediate hit to your self-esteem. Then there's downward comparison, looking at someone you see as worse off. This delivers an immediate, satisfying boost to your self-esteem. It's a quick hit of relief, a little neurochemical reward that says, hey, you're okay for now. An anxious brain, looking for comfort, learns very quickly which one of these delivers the more reliable payoff.
And that brings us to the brain's hidden agenda, which this chart makes perfectly clear. Our brain is not primarily interested in an accurate, truthful assessment of reality. Its main drive, by a huge margin, is self-enhancement, that powerful, unconscious desire to maintain a positive view of itself. It will actively seek out those downward comparisons to get that quick emotional win, literally sacrificing truth for comfort. This is exactly why the loop becomes so addictive. It offers a reliable, if totally temporary, way to manage the constant threats to our self-esteem that modern life throws at us.
You see, this ancient, self-enhancing system worked reasonably well in a small, stable tribe. But in the 21st century, with its infinite inputs and totally distorted data, it has turned into a serious malfunction. It's a program running on an operating system it was never designed for, and the result is a collective epidemic of anxiety, burnout, and that feeling of being perpetually behind. Let's dig into why this once adaptive program now works directly against our well-being.
Here it is, the absolute core of the modern problem. Your social positioning system is trying to do its job, but the data it's getting is completely corrupted. You are comparing your real, messy, unedited, actual self, with all its private doubts, its struggles, its boring moments, against the carefully curated, filtered, and algorithmically perfected ideal self-narratives that you see all over Instagram and LinkedIn. It is a game that is fundamentally structurally rigged from the very start, and your ancient brain? It doesn't know the difference between reality and a highlight reel. It just takes it all as real data. And this constant rigged comparison has a measurable physical impact on your brain. A region called the DACC, which is basically your social pain center, lights up with every painful upward comparison, making it feel like a real injury. Your amygdala, the brain's ancient threat detector, starts treating your social feed like it's a field full of predators, putting you into a state of chronic, low-grade fight or flight. All this activity creates a massive cognitive load that just exhausts your prefrontal cortex, the very part of your brain you need to step in and say, hey, hold on, this is just a curated photo, it's not reality. You're left neurologically primed for anxiety.
And what's the end result of living inside this malfunctioning loop? A fragile self-concept. It's a sense of self that's not built on solid internal ground, but on the constantly shifting sands of external validation. It requires endless maintenance. You have to keep scanning the environment for new comparisons just to feel stable for a moment. It's absolutely exhausting, and it makes you incredibly vulnerable, because your entire sense of self-worth can be shattered by a single post, a single comment, or a single promotion that wasn't yours.
Okay, so we've mapped the problem, we've traced its ancient roots, and we get the modern malfunction. Now, it might feel a bit bleak, but I promise, understanding the system is the most critical step to changing it. So now, let's pivot to the solutions. Here are practical, science-backed strategies you can use, starting today, to disrupt this automatic loop and take back the controls of your own validation system.
This is the key question, isn't it? We can't just flip a switch and turn this ancient program off. The drive to compare is automatic, but here's the crucial insight. Just because an impulse is automatic doesn't mean it has to be autonomous. Automatic is the initial spark. Autonomous is letting that spark dictate your thoughts and feelings without your conscious permission. The solution isn't in stopping the comparison from happening. It's in consciously intervening and redirecting it the moment it appears.
Here's your first tool, the Comparison Audit. It's a simple, two-step intervention you can practice the moment you feel that familiar pang. Step 1, identify. Get really specific. Name the trigger. I'm seeing a LinkedIn post. The target, my old classmate. And the metric, their fancy new job title. Step 2, reframe.
Instead of just letting that feeling of inadequacy wash over you, label it for what it is. Say to yourself, this feeling is not a reflection of my worth. This is just my brain running a cognitive shortcut to find certainty. This simple act of labeling moves the activity from your emotional reactive brain to your rational prefrontal cortex. It creates that critical space between the trigger and your response, giving you back your power of choice.
The next step is a really profound mental shift. You have to consciously switch the goal of comparison from self-evaluation to self-improvement. The default, automatic question is always, am I better or worse than them? That's a dead-end question that only leads to shame or arrogance. The new, intentional question is, what can I learn from their process? This simple pivot transforms the other person from a measuring stick for your worth into a potential source of data for your own growth. The outcome is no longer anxiety, it's self-efficacy and real, actionable insight. This is what's called goal-directed comparison.
And finally, the most powerful, long-term strategy of all is to build a new measurement system entirely, one that's immune to all that external noise. You have to consciously choose and value your own internal metrics. So instead of judging your success based on external outcomes you can't control, like someone else's opinion or a job title or how many likes you get, you anchor your self-worth to things you actually control. The effort you put in today, your consistency day after day, your curiosity to learn something new, your dedication to the process itself, no matter the outcome. This is how you build a resilient, intrinsic self-concept that cannot be shaken.
So as we bring all this together, the goal isn't to pretend we can live in some fantasy world without comparison. That's impossible, and it's not even the point. The real goal is to stop outsourcing your sense of self and to start navigating your life with your own internal compass, one that you've calibrated to your own values.
This is the fundamental takeaway. Every single time you pick up an external ruler, someone else's career, their relationship, their highlight reel to measure your own value, you are literally giving them power over your emotional state. True stability, true inner peace is found when you have the courage to put down their ruler and start measuring your actions against your own internal standards. Am I putting in the effort? Am I being consistent with my goals? Am I showing up with curiosity? That is the only data that truly matters.
So let's end with this powerful thought. Acknowledge and even respect that ancient system inside you. Your brain is a comparison machine, and that's okay. It was designed that way to survive in a world that doesn't exist anymore. But you are so much more than your ancient programming. You are designed to compare, yes, but you are absolutely not designed to be defined by it. The power to choose that definition right now is yours.